Well, welcome to a pretty excited group we've got in CTV and a bit of CTV history. By popular demand, the Owl and the Pussycat has been asked to return. Have a look at the set for a start. Congratulations to the set makers. I think they've done a wonderful, wonderful job. So great to be back with us. We'll be here till Christmas time at least, so we're looking forward to that. Remember, it is your program, your contribution. Whatever you send in, we will endeavour to solve your problems. But let's meet the panel because a lot's happened since the Owl and the Pussycats got together last time. We start with Rachel Bogan, the happy gardener. Rachel, about this time last year, you had a horrific fall off a horse at the AMP show, and you must have worried a little about where you were going to go in the rest of your life.
Oh, I did. I had a terrible crash at the show, and I actually broke my neck in 4 places. But the very kind people at Public Hospital, they welded me back together, and I'm very, very lucky. So I spent the summer in my garden looking at it last summer. So
how frustrating was that?
Well, it was good and bad. It was sort of nice to take some solace in the garden, and the garden is a very therapeutic sort of place. So I'm back on deck. Was thrilled to get your call, and looking forward to working with the ladies.
So have you had a clearance, Rach? You're okay?
I have.
Are you back riding?
I'm allowed to ride now, and my surgeon, Chris Dalzell, who was absolutely amazing, was phenomenal. So hats off to the public health system. They've been tremendous. So very lucky.
Well done.
Our second panellist, of course, thought she'd seen the bright lights and head to Wellington. It was going to change her life, but common sense prevailed in the end, and she has returned. Fundraiser is indeed Sarah Bowder. Sarah, Wellington just too windy?
The wind wasn't great, but no, look, it just wasn't me in the end.
Right.
I moved up there, set up a business as a fundraising consultant working for non-for-profits and charities off the back of the work I did at Chumley, and thought I'd give Wellington a go. I have lived there before, so I knew it. But it's funny, isn't it? Like, you go back to a place, and I thought that it may have changed a lot. I don't know why you think that, yeah, but it hadn't. So in the end, I really missed Christchurch. And I think there was a shared experience we all had that I really missed it, eh?
When you were last with us, you had a wee daughter. I assume the wee daughter's slightly bigger.
She is. She's 6 1/2, which I was saying the half is incredibly important, and you know, she's going great guns. So she's up at Cashmere Primary. Yep.
Right.
Yep.
Well, the glue for the Owl and the Pussycat is undoubtedly, of course, Janice Gray. Last time I saw Janice Gray, she was exposing herself in total at the Court Theatre, and it was a wonderful, wonderful show. You stole the show, dear, of course, and that was in Calendar Girls. How good an experience was that for you?
Oh, it was fascinating. Ross Gumbley rang me and said, look, I'm not asking you to show your tits, but we need a, you know, but anyway, it turned out, look, it was fantastic. That Ali Harper, what a beaut girl she is. Isn't she a gem?
Marvellous.
Oh, I loved her.
Just oozes talent, doesn't she?
And not only that, she uses niceness too, and it's trustworthy niceness, which is, with some actresses, you know, it's a stab in the back and a hoop and a holler. Anyway, what I wanted to tell you about me, that's something I could talk about for hours. I've had 2 knees, 2 new knees. Do you want to see them?
No. We'll just believe it. Now, Janice, I've got a story. That you know what a great gossip place Christchurch can be?
Absolutely.
I was out last night at a function, and somebody said, oh, the Owl and Pussycat are coming. I said, they are. And I said, Janice is with her. Isn't it great? She's got married. Well, I nearly dropped my glass.
No way.
Who did I marry?
Stephen somebody.
Stephen.
Is that Alzheimer's or you didn't?
No, darling. Listen, I'd marry my dog. I wouldn't marry a man. I'd marry my dog.
We scotched the rumour right from the start.
Oh, absolutely. No. You'd hear about it.
I would have made the news.
Truth would be writing about it.
Absolutely. OK, let's get into it, because these are the questions. We've had questions in, and an opportunity to give us more. Whatever you've got on your mind, I don't know whether we can solve it 100%, but we'll give it one heck of a shot. So we're going to start with Rachel. And the reason I start with this is because it's such a positive question. Russell from Fennelton writes, with our city broken and in ruins, isn't spring still the greatest season in Christchurch, Rachel?
Oh, it is, and it's for anyone that ever questions Christchurch being the garden city, I really challenge you now to come and sort of tell us why it's not, because the botanical gardens look amazing. The new centre there is open. The gardens around the city, the cherry blossoms, the magnolias, everything's looking marvellous.
And the shake-up that we got didn't affect the bulbs?
No, they haven't. And what's happening now is that people are really looking to their gardens to sort of reconnect with life and things. So it's becoming more and more important. So I think, sort of head off, thumbs up to the garden city and how lovely it's all looking. And if you don't have a garden of your own, just go for a wander, because there's so many lovely things to see.
I've got a dog, and he insists on going on a Sunday around the gardens, and it's been a great thrill.
Good.
And the number of Cantabs out doing it.
Oh, there is, and you notice whole families, like young children, grandparents, even like new couples. People are heading outdoors because they want to enjoy the outdoor space.
Sarah, was it a thing you missed?
Oh, definitely. I actually think the weather, like you mentioned the wind before, but the weather in general, once you start seeing and feeling the warmth of Christchurch kick in, it really does warm your heart a bit. But also the events, like we've got First Thursdays kicking off in the Sydenham Quarter tomorrow. That's a whole new set of arts, events and musicians and things will be playing. You've got the Body Festival on, like there's just so much activity in the city around this time of year. It's fantastic.
Janice, you came in and you were growling about the wind.
I find the wind a bit chill for me. I just wish if the sun's going to shine, shine. But don't connect with that bloody awful associate wind.
Right.
It's chill.
But don't you dress for it?
It depends what I'm doing. Getting back to the garden, I'm growing a lot in pots because I've got chooks in the back garden and they insist on helping, and of course they don't.
Well, they're great cultivators.
Great cultivators and poopers.
Yes.
They're fantastic for the earth. It's wonderful. I've got stuff growing out there like sunflowers, radishes, broad beans, potatoes, and about 11 fruit trees. But around my back garden, and I hope I haven't monopolised the conversation in any way, I'm growing in pots sweet peas and parsley.
Oh, sweet peas.
Christmas lilies, garlic.
Are your lilies up?
Yes, they've just popped through the earth as they do in October.
Yeah.
They wait till October.
Yeah, they do.
Really,
They do.
And what else have I got? I've got just outside the back door a lemon tree because I love the smell of the blossom, and I've grown for the first time some what are those little round purple fruits? Blueberries.
Oh, blueberries.
Yeah.
Oh, they're superfoods.
Yeah.
You'll be
Right.
bouncing in here with those new knees.
Yeah, well, on one I can bounce.
How do you go on the kneeling for the garden?
You
mate?
don't. I don't. I'm
You don't
just as
kneel.
well. I'm not a Catholic.
Presbyterians don't, so you'd be all right if you're
Anglicans.
Anglicans do
Yes,
still.
Anglicans do, but they
Might be a
forgive
question
you.
we need to talk about. Why do some kneel and others don't? But we'll talk about that. Okay, so to Russell, thanks for a positive start. Really was good just to kick the show off with what is a great place still to live, and I
Yes,
think we
it
all
is.
Agree with that.
Yes.
And Sarah has reinforced that by coming back and having the common sense to come back. Yeah.
It's just so hard to break in a new town, I think.
Oh, I do try quite hard. Believe me, I do try quite hard. Yeah.
You're
I think
bad.
Janice is probably
Yeah.
talking from experience there, having been away on your honeymoon.
Only in my dreams. I'll tell you
Okay.
what, if I got married again, Pete, I've got to tell you it'd be to a hypnotist.
Why?
Hypnotist.
Well, because somebody talked me into it. You are.
Yeah.
All right. As you can see, we're alive and well. No two ways about it. When we come back, question for Sarah. Everybody loves the graphics, don't they? It's terrific. So welcome back to the Owl and the Pussycat. Remember, it's your program, your opinions, our solutions. That's the tagline for it. So there we are. Question now for Sarah, and it goes as this. My girlfriend has just informed me that she and her husband are having a time out from each other. What the hell does this mean? Separation or hit the rocks? Call me old-fashioned, Fiona. Right. What's a time out?
Ooh, I think a time out is a break, isn't it, apart from each other? Not necessarily a divorce, but maybe a bit of a separation period or something like that. I don't know. I think that it's really hard in relationships, but I'm a bolter, so I'm the worst person to ask because I wouldn't do a time out with the idea of going back into it. I'd just be like, see you later.
Right, well,
you
that's
know?
what Fiona says, is it hit the rocks? Is that what it really
Well,
means?
no, I don't think it does. I think time out is literally time apart with the intent of getting back together. I don't think it means it's over, but my personal experience would mean I would be out.
So you haven't
probably.
tried it?
I haven't had the break where I've gone back in so much.
Right,
Yes, no,
okay.
yes, tricky.
Janice, you just have time out in your life, I suppose, do you?
Don't assume, otherwise you'll make an arse out of you and me, right? Now, I'm good. I'm actually real good, Pete. It's probably one of the better times of my life, actually, because I've got nobody to please, which is good, except myself, which is also good. And everything's hunky-dory. My knees have honestly given me a new lease of life. Sorry to talk about myself personally. Sometimes I say flippantly I had the operation to keep them together.
You jolly old soul. Yeah, okay. Have we back to dancing at all, mate?
Slowly.
Slow dancing. Yeah,
Contact
okay.
dancing only.
Rachel, you've had a time out in your life, or?
I'm sort of a little bit cynical on the time out thing. I see it as a sign of weakness. It's sort of like if someone wants to have some time out, they really can't make that step to say goodbye. And I think it's actually cruel because the person that's wanting the time out is generally the person that wants to end the relationship. And I see it as a weakness. I'd say be kinder to the other person and just have a clean break.
The other thing I'd probably note is it really has got nothing to do with Fiona anyway, does it?
Correct.
Yeah.
Yes.
She's not involved in it.
No.
Correct.
No. So,
No.
all right. Janice, when you were last with us, you love cooking, don't you?
Yeah, I do.
You cook very well. This is your question then.
Yes.
This is from Jim from, no, it's not. It's I've got to get to that one. Okay. Angela from Kaiapoi says, for God's sake, ban all cooking shows from TV. No wonder we lead the world when it comes to obesity. And that's not written by CTV people. That's written by Angela at Kaiapoi.
No, can't agree with you, Angela. You get obese from eating too much, darling. You know, eating too much.
Doesn't a cooking show encourage that?
How can it?
Well, you're seeing it.
Listen, a cooking show does not make people rise off their seats and get out and buy the best fillet steak and everything like that and cook it at home and try and imitate. Certainly not. We depend on the meals that we like and enjoy, don't we? What's the point of cooking something that we've never done
So
before?
what's the point of the cooking show?
Don't ask me. Irrelevant.
They show you how to cook food that is healthy. That is also.
Which one does?
Well, heaps of them do.
Do they?
Yeah.
But there's
it's not
such a
all fake.
proliferation
Yes,
of them.
there
That's the
is.
thing I can't
Yes,
understand.
yes.
Oh, I love cooking shows.
I like
I just
MKR.
can't
I
do
like
nothing.
MKR.
No, that one, I don't know. Some of the personalities are a little bit hot and cold.
Well,
but
maybe that's why I watch it.
Yeah, could be.
The
Yeah.
problem I do have with them though is that they are limiting getting a gardening program back on TV because the networks are going, well, if you can give us a gardening program that has a competition element like My Kitchen Rules do and those sort of things, we'll put a garden show on. But we've got no reality gardening TV, so we might have to come up with a naked gardener. Pete, maybe could be you.
And Janice,
We've got a calendar
Yeah,
girl.
yeah.
Yes.
I'll show my knees.
Yeah.
It comes with experience.
That's right.
Yeah, but wrestling with Angela's question, and I actually go with you, Rachel, wouldn't they be better to show how to grow your produce and cook it rather than all the fancy stuff?
Some of them do now, but I'm a big fan of cooking shows. I really enjoy them.
Okay.
If I'm going to go out, I'll tape one or two. But I'd love to see some more Kiwi ones
I think more down
orientated
to-
around our produce.
Yeah.
Sorry, Janice.
Sorry.
Yep.
I think more down to earth. With the socio-economic situation of some people, I think that people, rather than buying Kentucky Fried Chicken and McDonald's and everything like that, learn how to make macaroni cheese and serve it with a beautiful salad. That's a substantial meal, especially if you put some ham and onion in the cheese sauce, you know?
Definitely.
And with a beautiful salad, like I'm growing rocket and lettuce outside my back door.
Loving it.
It's just wonderful.
I hope it's at a height you don't have to bend down for.
I can bend.
Good.
Yeah.
I used to be a willow.
The knees are going to come up all the time, I can tell you that. Lovely segue to the next question that you're just talking about there is the cost of the food.
Yeah.
Olive from Christchurch Central writes this way. It's a fact that young people can't save. They just live for today. Surely a bank that brought money boxes back into primary and intermediate schools would make a fortune, and so would the kids. We grew up with a post office box that we had at school to put the coins in, didn't we?
Yeah, book. We had a PO book, post office book. You'd put 1 and 6 in each week, maybe, something like that.
But remember the ones you couldn't open as well?
No.
You know, the orange ones you girls had those?
Yeah. They just smash them or whatever. Like, that doesn't matter.
But it formed a habit, didn't it? And I think that's a
Yes, but
very wise
all,
letter
I
from
think we're all
Olive.
sensible, aren't we? We all say it.
No, so
Okay,
try.
seriously.
Yeah, I try. Yeah.
Well, I've ended up in a really hard financial situation after my accident, and
you
I've
would
always
have.
got a rainy day fund.
Yeah.
You know, but when is that rainy day? So this was
Now.
definitely my rainy day.
Yeah.
But then sometimes it's hard to know when is the rainy day. Do you save for the next worst thing, or do you
Yeah.
deal with it now?
Yeah, I've
Yeah.
got a safety net.
Yeah.
And I think, that's teeth, ears, and eyes for when I'm older.
Yeah.
Oh.
You know?
Sarah, you've got a 6.5-year-old. Would she know saving at school?
Yes, they talk about it. In fact, the banks actually go and visit the schools a lot. Like ASB's been there and they do big kind of presentations. But it is about the education at home, I think, more so about what they learn in the school about saving and also good role modelling, right? So if I save, then obviously she saves. But I save for her, you see. This is terrible. I might not be good for myself, but Ava's doing quite well, thank you very much. You've got to show them the bank account, show them how the money goes in, what it means, and the cost of things perhaps as well.
I've got
Cost of food.
an older couple of boys now, but they went through a real era there of just live the day. You know, didn't save any
Didn't
money.
we all?
Oh, I don't know that we did because it was ingrained in us to save.
Yeah, but there were times when we had a bit of a splash out.
Yeah.
I'm sure of it, you know, when you think, oh, to hell with poverty, you know, and you do something, you buy a car or you might buy yourself a pair of earrings. Not you particularly, but us ladies, you know.
You always save to buy your first house or things like that. It's
Exactly.
always good to have a go, I think, you know, like
Exactly.
I wanted a pony or something else. Or
But now the wheeling and screaming is at the moment, oh, we'll never be able to buy a house. Well, they probably never ever saved in the first place. Fair comment?
I don't know. I have a house. I saved. I paid it off.
You're
I
a
worked my
slightly
ring
different
off.
generation, dear.
Beg your pardon?
You're a slightly different generation, dare I say.
Okay.
I think young people, some of them do save really well. I
Right.
think
I
they
reckon they
get
do.
bagged all the time, young people, and we've got to stop doing that. You know,
Yeah.
you project what you end up getting sometimes. It's
My
not
nephew,
fair.
29, he's just bought a $750,000 house out of Pribbleton.
Great.
And he saved, he had a $150,000 deposit.
How old's he?
29, I just said.
Sorry, I couldn't hear because my director wants to be part of the show.
Oh,
Sorry, yeah.
Okay.
That's all right.
29.
Thank you, dear. Doug, 29, if you've got it. Okay. Olive, we're probably going to call that a draw. I don't know that we quite actually got whether the bank should be more proactive and put stuff in the schools and encourage a saving habit. But there we are. Back for the last time on the first episode of The Owl and the Pussycats. Don't forget, you can have your say on this program as well. Welcome back. Babs has emailed in, and it's probably appropriate for Sarah, I think, more than anyone else on the panel, and it goes as this. Hi, Al. I just wonder about my son. He's only 7, and he's only playing with girls at his school. He says all the other kids have great buddies, men, he means, but there's a lot of kids that just don't play with girls. So the problem is, he said, she actually says, Barb's here, very small writing, it's difficult. I can't tell he doesn't play with the boys, so that's a problem. I'm not concerned about his sexuality, but do you think it's a bad habit to get into? That's a 7-year-old boy, you got a 6.5-year-old girl, does she play with blokes? I don't know.
Yeah, I think it's really tricky. Socialising for children is actually one of their biggest issues. So I think really what Babs or Barbs is trying to say is it okay for her son to be playing with girls all the time instead of having special buddies that is a boy? And I can really relate to that because I know my daughter, she often plays with boys. She doesn't play with a whole lot of the girls. And do you know why? She says she doesn't like the way they treat each other, which amazes me. At such a young age to be quite so insightful as that.
So that's a catty thing that she's aware of? Or?
I think it is a little bit, but then you want them to have a special friend, right? Because you think that that's what kids should have. But I wonder if maybe it's a case of saying that it's normal. You know, at that age, if you try and project all your thinking onto a small person, you're going to give them a whole lot of issues when they get older. And it's better to just not do that. And just it's normal, you know, however it is for you that it works best, go for it. And just I'd check in with a teacher and just make sure that everything's, you know, going really well and there are no issues. And if there aren't,
having
roll with
13
it.
years at an all-boys school, it's a problem that didn't crop up in my day, but are they even aware of the difference between boys and girls at 7?
Absolutely.
Oh dear.
Yeah, I think absolutely.
Oh.
Very advanced young people these
Yeah,
days,
they're
very
clever,
advanced.
clever.
Yeah, and so socially.
Janice, do you see it as a problem?
Nah.
No. Surely in sport they must get put into boys' teams and girls' teams and whatever, wouldn't they, Rach?
There's a lot of mixed like rugby teams now. I know with our local Waihoa rugby teams, the girls and boys play together until they're like 12 or 13. So there's a lot of blending. The social structures are slightly different now to what they were a few years ago. So
Good learning process.
is it a major?
Good learning process for the boy.
Yeah, okay. So we favour a co-ed system rather than a single-sex system?
Oh, I went to a
helps.
single-sex school. I think it's fine. You know, I think there's pros and cons for both.
Right,
Yeah.
Janice, didn't worry
No,
you?
I think he'll be fine. If he learns how to deal with women and be charming and polite and tell them how pretty they look,
Yeah.
he'll go far.
He will.
He will.
Can I just add that I have a 5.5-year-old granddaughter called Chloe, and she's absolutely gorgeous, and all she wants to be in life is a princess, so I don't think she's worried about boys or girls, so that's
Sounds like
fine.
she's wonderful.
And she will make a beautiful princess too, so if you're watching, Chloe, I'm thinking of you. Okay, here we go. Now this is from Stupid, so it's not a great start, I would have thought, to the letter. Call me Stupid. I had a lovely home and a good husband, no money worries, kids all gone, good friends, then I fell in love. At my age, exclamation mark. I moved to my lover's rental home, not as nice as the one I had, but we were happy, very happy. Then he died. My lover, gone. Would you advise me, please, how to get back into my still husband's good books? I want to go back to the way we were. I'm lovely. Please help, says stupid. Janice, dug a hole?
Read my lips. Stupid. Really stupid. You can't go back. He's not going to accept you back. Is it? No man would.
They might. Some men do.
no,
Some
no,
men do.
no.
Love's
Poor victim.
interesting.
I
Love's
think
interesting.
what do you think?
Love is interesting. You know, if he really loves her
Yeah.
and has never got over her, he might take her back.
Yeah.
Oh, what pride, what hubris.
What if they've got older and he just wants companionship in his old age?
Get a dog.
Beautiful.
All right, so we got mixed views on this or not?
I think she's full of hubris.
Full of
Hubris.
hubris.
it?
I don't know what that
Please tell us.
A sense of entitlement.
All right.
Oh.
She thinks she can do what she wants on one hand and then she can get back and just put a Band-Aid over it and everything will be hunky-dory. Read my lips. Stupid.
Hubris is a very last century word, Janice. I was thinking more $1 each way. I think she wants $1 each way, doesn't she?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I don't think he'll ever trust her again if he does take her back.
Why would he?
Yeah.
Yeah. Go get a bit of fresh stuff. What do you reckon?
Fresh. Fresh
Yeah.
is good.
Yeah,
fresh is
good.
best.
Yeah.
Fresh is good.
Yeah.
Said Rachel, who's still with David, which is great. Yeah,
Yes,
so there we
yes.
go. Okay, so we appreciate that. Now, a practical question, I suppose. Jim from Ashburton writes, and I presume he's a user of, the Yankee dollar is the highest ever for years, so the price of petrol should come down. The liquid gold that the barons must own must be making a fortune at our expense. The dollar goes up, petrol goes up. Dollar comes down, why doesn't it come down? Is it a rort? What's the story, Rachel?
Oh, it's always a challenge and it causes lots of debate. And, you know, the petrol stations, they are constantly being taxed, aren't they? The government puts the taxes up on them and it doesn't reduce the taxes when the dollar changes. So maybe it should have been something that should have been debated through the election period? Yeah. I don't know what the solution is.
I don't really care about petrol prices. It's funny, isn't it? I always hear people go on about it like the biggest issue in the world. I'd rather care about people being enslaved in different parts of the world or children being tortured.
Also,
But
deep and meaningful time here on the panel, let me tell you. Yeah.
I just heard on the news coming out, the petrol's going up again.
Yeah.
Because of the high dollar.
Janice, why does it go up so quickly and down so slowly?
Look, you can't ask me that. I'm not a scientist, I'm not a physicist, and I'm not a member of
Do you
Parliament.
not think
I can't
there's a little
answer.
bit of tweaking goes on?
I'm sure there is, because it's overpriced anyway. And what they pay for a barrel of oil is very different to what they charge us at the pumps, mate.
Definitely.
And the thing is, my social life rather depends on my petrol tank. I don't go anywhere.
People should buy hybrid cars, or we should be working
Electric?
towards electric, anything like that. You know, working towards making water be able to drive cars. Just move away
We have a
from
greenie
petrol.
on the panel,
It's a
isn't that
nightmare.
refreshing? One for Sarah before she goes. This has come in from Hurst, I think it says. It's very difficult to read. Okay, I used to go and stay with a friend in Wellington. I'd buy my dinner and breakfast for all the family as a way of contributing quite happily. My friend keeps ringing me and saying, why don't you come up and stay? I discovered her son was stealing money from my purse and now have no desire to go there again. I have never told her our friendship has waned and she doesn't know why. It would have been cheaper all up to stay in a hotel. It's a worry, isn't it?
Well, it is, but I think you've got to pop the zit, you know, like actually deal with the issue. So the problem is that she needs to talk to her friend
Was it
and say...
pop the
Pop
zit?
the zit.
I say,
That's
you know,
this
get it
century,
out.
Janice.
That's a new one.
Yeah.
Get it out, whatever
Yeah.
it is. It's so
Yeah.
much easier to deal with something, the real issue, instead of hide behind feelings that you're never expressing. You know, no one can understand that. Way too complicated.
Do you think it's a problem when you go to Wellington? This is where the writers
Must be
go
it
to.
happening only in Wellington. But you look, people do steal money out of purses and all that stuff happens. I know it's sad, it's not good.
Janice, you've
but
got
deal with
empathy
it.
for her, though, haven't you? You feel for her.
I do. I think it's better that the mother remains ignorant, because if he's the only son, she's probably so proud of him and everything like that, doesn't want to hear that he's a little thief, you know.
It needs to come out.
Yeah.
Because it
Do
will
you
only
think that's
become...
going to save the friendship, though?
At least they'll be able to talk about the real issue and perhaps resolve it. Perhaps.
There we are. That's episode 1 done and dusted with a divided panel. So there we are. We will be back same time next week. Don't miss it, but keep your contributions coming in. We'll try and solve your problems.
Good on you.